Hi, everybody. This is Javier and Tyler from the Digital Experience team, and we're going to be talking about accessibility work related to slippers, navigation, and whatnot. I had started an issue for implementing an NBC1 for navigation since we're going through a bit of a redesign. And I had gone through in the past iteration, gone through an NBC1. We have some accessibility issues that Tyler has brought up uh, eloquently in the code review. So we're going to go through and pair program and try to see like how we can resolve these issues in a way that works well for people with screen readers, because that's important.
Yeah, cool. Well, sweet. To get started, do you have any? We can like link to the MR in the video if people want to jump in. But do you have questions about the stuff that I wrote down before we hop in?
Yeah, let me just like pull it up real quick
Cool.
as I jump in. Yeah, so let me just share my screen because I think that'll also help for the people get that point of view of just the front-end engineer trying to make some UI improvements. All right, so I think this makes sense. Like, essentially, like because you're just like hiding and showing two navigations. Like, I understand that. I just didn't know how else to do it. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So the thing that I would do, I think display none is good for. So you've got like the two navigations. I think that's super reasonable. That's actually exactly what display none is built for. Is like we have these two things, and they're like the data and semantics of them are different. And like on a mobile view, we want it to be this way, and on desktop view, we want it to be this way. And so display none is good there because you like literally rip it out of the DOM, and like that's good. So like I actually wouldn't change it for between for going between the mobile and desktop views. But I noticed that and here, let me, I've got my storybook. I don't need to share. I just want to double check that I'm saying the right thing. So
yeah, we can go to the actual review app if you'd like on my end.
Yeah. So so if you bring it to navigation and then like pop it out to its little iframe.
Okay.
On the right hand, one more left. That one, cool. This makes it easier for me personally.
Yeah.
And then inspect it, bring it to a mobile view. Let's start there first.
Oh, I have like the not integrated one.
Oh, sure. Yeah, cool, awesome. And then so actually first, right click and inspect on the button itself. But like, I want to see the markup and what's going on here. And then, underneath. So here's the first thing. This is like partially accessibility and like partially just like SEO and like our strategy around the nav.
For sure.
My opinion, I think this is like generally like what most people do. Like the idea with navigation is like it should be persistent. Even if you can't see it, it should be in the DOM somewhere, because then for SEO, like site crawlers can know like what we have in our nav, right? Because we use our nav to communicate some things in SEO. And then also, again, for like people who are on screen readers and like not consuming it like the way that you and I are looking at this right now, we want to give them as much opportunity and like leave the stuff in the DOM, right? Here we're even using this, like you're like hiding and showing, you're doing the, I think, vif in view, which like rips it, just replaces it with a comment. So instead, like the first place to start would be using vshow, but the vshow directive uses display none. And then display none is also a problem because with display none, much like that comment there, that comment line that pulls it out, it also gets ripped out of the DOM. I think SEO will still, I think some site crawlers will still find it and get it, so that's good. But if you're on a screen reader, you won't have access to it. So here's the solution for like, say you've got a nav bar and you've got like the whole, like an entire, like all your list of navigation items, but you don't want them all showing at this, like all at once or even by default, whatever. We can use absolute positioning to just kick them off the visual screen, but leave them in the document, right? In like in the actual DOM tree. So like what I would do is like that And let me look at it on my screen because I've got.
For sure.
Because
Do
I
you want
can.
you want to drive?
No, it's all good. I think you driving is good. I just want to like speak clearly and make sure I'm saying the exact right thing. Yeah. So the div or even the header is probably a good thing. So like we could make the header like a relative, like positioned relative,
Okay.
and then this your secondary div that says SLP MX16, which is what contains like when you click the button,
Yeah.
that thing.
Yeah. Let me share my screen of the actual VS Code so I can. Let me see. Let me just share my entire screen because I think that would
Yeah, we'll
probably.
probably be flipping back and forth a little.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. Let me just share
so
desktop one. Okay. So
instead of toggling between like right now it's like VIF, but instead of toggling like VShow or display hidden, I would just
yeah.
toggle its positioning between relative and absolute. So when it's like the hidden class on this is that it's absolutely positioned, and we can put it like top 0, left 0, and then transform negative 100%, negative 100%, right? So it just like goes to the top left and then just like shoops up. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Sorry, I was opening this up. What are you looking at in particular?
No worries. In mobile drop down,
Okay.
you've
Gotcha.
got the div v if mobile item is active,
The
line
if mobile.
11 there.
Gotcha. Gotcha.
Mhm.
All right.
And so instead of using vif, I would set up, we could actually set up a class. So um, use so change vif to class
Okay.
and do the colon class because we're going to use some JavaScript to be like dynamic here.
Okay.
Yep, cool. And then, so by default, it's SLP absolute.
Okay.
Cool. Oh, you want to put this in backticks for now? So we're
Oh.
going to do a little interpolation here.
Okay.
And at the beginning of after the first backtick,
Okay.
what's that data that you're using? Is it mobile active mobile item is active? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So test for the truthiness of that. Do like a little ternary.
So. Well, oh wait. A
You can just
ternary
type
would.
the
This
and
is
sorry, I skipped one thing. You want to do interpolation, so $ curly braces.
the wrapped around the SLP absolute.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So $
It's after the backtick.
after the backtick. Gotcha.
Mhm.
So $
Curly
curly brace.
braces.
There
Yep,
it is.
perfect. And then inside the backtick.
Oh, wait. Like this, right? There.
Precisely, yeah. Because when you do it in the backtick, now you can write JavaScript expressions
Yeah. Yeah.
inside of it. Yeah.
Totally.
And then, so after the first curly brace, we're going to test for the truthiness of mobile item active.
Okay. So wait.
You
It's
can just,
mobile
mhm.
item. Wait. What is it? It's mobile item is active.
Yeah, mobile item is active.
Active. And this is just question mark, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Question
space question
mark.
mark,
And
space.
then
And then if it is active, and I always do this backwards. Yeah, if it is active, so now you can do like a single quote for a string return.
okay.
Do like SLP relative.
SLP relative.
Mm-hmm.
So like
And
this,
then space colon.
like
Yep,
that.
space, and then SLP absolute. So so we'll probably end up like pulling this into a little like computed function or something, right? But to start, we can start simple. I think you have a
So
typo in.
I'm not like used to writing it like directly in the template. That's why it was like confusing to me.
Oh, sure, yeah,
That's why I was like, I know what you're trying to do, but like it's not like I
yeah.
don't typically, that's not my first instinct on how to do it. And like I think that's maybe I should make that a first instinct because it's like a
It
lot of the
you,
times the logic for this kind of stuff is like simple. And it's
yeah,
only when it's complicated that you would
that
want to
you want
pull it
to
out.
pull it out.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that. Like it's I don't know. It's such a like tricky question of like, do you think it's gonna get complicated? And the answer is like probably eventually everything gets complicated. So it's totally a safe choice to never do it inline, right? Like honestly, like I think you probably have the right way. I just do this because I'm optimistic. I'm optimistic that we'll only ever need this expression. And like I'm probably wrong. You have a typo in mobile item is active, by the way.
Mobile item is
Yeah. Cool. But yeah, so here, so basically, if the active data point is true, then we want it to be positioned relative, and if not, we want it to be absolute. And here it's already going to get complex, so we want to put it whatever the top 0 left 0 is. It's like inset something, right?
Yeah,
I'll look this up.
let me just double check what happens when I did this.
Oh yeah.
Oh wait. that was like, wait.
Oh, this is the review app?
Yeah. Yeah, let me how do I open the navigation from here?
Oh, I don't know.
I think sometimes it like there's this issue with Storybook locally where it's like it'll sometimes just hide the navigation like for no reason. I don't know if you've ever ran into it.
Yeah, it's like yeah, it's and it's like I never know the hotkey to bring it back.
Yeah. I've had to do something with like the DOM, like something with the cache and the DOM, where it's like you have to type in this command into the terminal to make like the bottom panel, for instance, like load back again.
Oh, sure. Okay, cool. So yeah, obviously I broke all your styles. Sorry. But this is good. So click inspect into it.
Okay. Just
this
like
is
the
great.
actual drop down itself.
Yeah. And then toggle that button. Let's see what's good.
What do you like
yeah. It's still doing VIF. Interesting. You go back to the code.
Yeah.
I think we've still got the V navigation mobile drop down. Class.
V4. Let me check the thing surrounding it because there might be something over here.
Yeah, is it just navigation.view?
Yeah. Oh, that's weird. Yeah, so if I go to navigation.view, I just have this.
Okay, right.
But yeah, it's weird.
Did you yeah, sorry, we changed. It looks like nope. Yeah. Now we're in. Okay. There is the wrapper in navigation-mobile in this file. So, yeah, you've got this wrapper VIF. So we're gonna do the same thing here.
For this right here?
No, in the wrapper on line 10. Yep. Use this to be
the same thing.
Yeah, because that's what's well, this will be a little bit different, but that's fine. Let's start here.
Mobile is active, and then it would be question
mark.
And then
first one is relative. The second one will be absolute.
Oh, I just confused myself. I was trying to like anticipate, and then I was like, oh. So I think the autocomplete is what messed me up there.
Yeah. And it looks like something didn't get closed.
Oh, oops. I pressed F11 on accident.
You want to make that closing quote a backtick. Not the double quote, but so one over, one to the left. One to the left. Yep, this should be a backtick.
A backtick? Isn't that what that is?
I can't tell on the resolution. It looks like it isn't. It looks like it isn't closed. You haven't closed the string.
Wait, what? Hold up. Let me do this.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, much better. Perfect. Okay. VIF.
SOP apps. Oh. Here.
Yep.
That's probably. Oh.
Nope. There we go. Yep. Perfect. Okay. And then change it to you have the VIF. Make it colon class.
Yeah. You're the boss.
Nice.
Sometimes I just say things without like really.
All right, so this now should do what we're expecting. It'll still be a little wonky. You might have to like reload. Yeah. Okay. This is exactly so. That's happening because you're going from absolute to relative, and so the div isn't getting the like 100% width. Like when it's like relative divs span 100% of their container, absolute divs will be 0 by 0 unless they have content inside, and then they'll be however much their content is, right?
I see.
So we're getting the right class, and this is perfect. And so now the other thing we want to do in that same file where the one you just modified.
Yeah.
So it's absolute. We also want to transform it back 100% in either direction. So in the absolute one, yep, you can write it'd be like so a space and then SLP-transform.
Okay.
And then what's the tailwind? Translate X
Which one?
Translate do negative 100%. So I think it's like, yeah, it's the negative translate full. Yeah. And then same for the Y.
Negative
2-.
translate. It's these, right?
Yep. SLP.
It's not showing up.
It might be before the translate. It's
okay.
Yeah, it's before the translate.
So like that. Translate there. This one?
Yep. Perfect. And then same for the Y.
SLP.
You know what I learned on a podcast recently? Maybe you already know this, and like if you lose your autofill on that dropdown, if you hit Control Space, it'll bring it back.
Control Space?
Yeah.
Oh.
Right.
Okay.
So you ever do that thing where like you're like, oh no, like I didn't want to dismiss it, but now I like have to have to delete it and then start typing it again to get the autofill. Yeah, Control Space will save your life. It will make everything so much nicer.
Yeah, because like I'll give you an example right here. Just like usually this will work. The way that the thing works is that you have to like type a space, and then like if you type something, it's just like, oh, great.
It tries to fuzzy match it.
Yeah, like you have to like retype. You have to delete everything back to the original space, and then like type the space again, which is just annoying because it's like you need to have like that. So that's super helpful. Actually.
Control Space. Yeah, it'll take a while to get it back into like get your muscle memory on it, but it's so helpful. Yeah. Okay, so let's see what we got. So save that. Check it out.
Yeah, it should be saved. Let me hard refresh just to be sure.
Yeah.
All right.
Perfect. Boom. So toggle the thing off, and now go into the DOM. And I want to show you why this is like so we can like verify. Yeah. So now.
Yeah, I see what
it's still there, right? So like a site crawler would see it, someone with a screen reader could see it. That's the big thing. So we just use absolute positioning. You'll end up, you may need to like do like overflow hidden on the container, which is that header, and that's appropriate because it also like denotes like, hey, this is the container. We've got stuff that like if we're absolutely positioning it, like it should be hidden, because like that's really the hidden thing. If you do like overflow hidden on this, it'll be visually hidden. It'll denote that you've got stuff that shouldn't be shown if it's like you're saying like, hey, we're gonna do something to this, right? But that div is still in the DOM. Yeah, precisely. Sweet. Yeah. The other thing too is this makes it like easier to run in the, so like we're gonna have to do the integration of like the writing the JavaScript, right? Yeah. And you can just toggle your class list here.
Okay.
Right. So
wait.
Cool. So that's the first thing.
Which is this, right? Like overflow. Is that what you're saying?
Oh yeah, overflow hidden. Yeah.
Just like here.
Yeah. Because like it's working fine for us now, but like when like if you like put it on like a desktop and you didn't have overflow hidden, you would get like a side scrolling bar because the browser would be like, oh, hey, let me go find that for you. Right. Yeah. So you don't see it in the mobile view so much. And also I guess it wouldn't because you have the separate mobile, you'll have to like duplicate this in the mobile. Yeah. But that's fine for now. And I think we should just talk about mobile because everything we do, we can keep it short, but everything we do here will still basically be the same.
Same in desktop.
Yeah. So that's the toggling the like menu itself. Right there, and then there's still a couple other accessibility things I wanted to cover. So,
yeah, let's see what else you have written down
here. And this you'll also want to kind of carry that over to these drop down menus, right? The things that like the top level buttons that like click to open and stuff. You'll want to do the same technique, but it'll work basically exactly the same. You'll just need to like be a touch aware of like where they go when you transform them left and up.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, you also brought up the good. There is like the tabbing situation with the tabbing.
Yeah. So this is what. So here's like because it'll get tricky, and I don't think we should do everything on this video. But like here's how I think about navigation. Navigation for like sites like this is one of like the most interactive like elements ever, and it's
Yeah.
persistent and it's extremely important. And so I think about it two ways. Um, or I think about two particular things that are inside navigation bars. The first is interactive elements. In my opinion, I have like a strong opinion on this, and it's like mostly around semantics, but you can do the links correctly. But I think that basically you should either have buttons or links. So it should either do something or link to something. And so these top level ones versus like products, solutions, pricings, partners, the drop downs, in my
Yeah.
opinion, they should be buttons.
Mhm.
And what you get out of that is a button is automatically tab focusable. So you don't need to do tab index,
Gotcha.
right? And it's the same thing. And then if you make everything inside it a link, same deal, tab focus works. And so you might not actually need to do tab index on these. However, for some of these, what you end up doing, if you want to like, you end up, if you look on like line 12, you've got the unordered list there, right? Or maybe the list item itself. There's a chance, depending on how this all shakes out and like how you need to like group it up by divs, you may need to put a tab index on list item because list items aren't focusable by default. But you may want it to be like if someone like tabs to this list item, it opens, right? And so you may want to just add tab index equals 0 to make it focusable. I don't know if that's the answer on this yet. You might not need to, because what's really cool is, so if they tab into that anchor link,
Mhm.
and so here's what we need to do is I think this is the challenge, is you need that SLP absolute, right? So so not only do we want it to be, or sorry, on the relative, not only do we want it to show when someone has toggled this, we also want it to be relative when someone has focused or so it is in the SLP absolute, because and this is where it gets super tricky. So
Yeah, I know
line
what you're talking
11,
about.
you know
Yeah.
where I'm getting to. Yeah,
Yeah.
line 11. So I would say so it'd be like space and be like focus colon SLP relative.
SLP focus. What is it? Focus.
Where it's like, this is what we need to focus within. Can we do focus within in Tailwind? Focus within.
Yeah.
We can. Yep. Okay. Perfect. So if you can do, since we can do focus within with Tailwind,
Yeah.
I don't think you actually need to um, do the tab index trick, because basically the idea is if someone focuses on one of the buttons that you can click or on one of the links you can click to,
Yeah.
we want this menu to appear. So if you're like, if you're on because the other thing too is it's not just screen readers. It's like if you can only use a keyboard, if you can't use a mouse,
Yeah.
and you're looking
Gotcha.
on even on like desktop, like you want to be able to tab into every item. And if I were to tab into the deepest nested link, I want to see the nav bar appear, and I want to see the sub menu appear where that nested link is. And using focus within on the top level, and also focus within on the probably the list item you have there, I think.
I think you probably would need it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you want it to be specific too. So it's like open the overall nav bar, open the sub menu, and use focus within there. Yeah, so that is, I think that'll actually fix it. This is much simpler with focus within. It's much simpler than what I've had to do in the past. I think the link I sent you to the last mega nav that I did at my last job, I had to like basically like listen for focus and keyboard events and like toggle classes based on, like I had to do add a ton of tab indexes and add a ton of event listeners, because it's like keys and presses and all this stuff. But the nice thing is, if you change those top level items to buttons to enable the drop downs.
So you're talking this to a button, right?
Yeah. Yeah. If you make that a button, now it's focusable, and you can get all the good clicks.
Okay.
And
then what
mm-hmm.
do you want to do with focus within here? Because this is
sorry, I didn't realize we're in the drop down one. I want this on navigation mobile, so you can keep that. Actually, no. Keep that focus within colon SLP relative.
SLP relative? Is that what
Correct?
You want?
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. And then go into navigation mobile, the file to the right.
I see what you mean. Okay.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I see what you're saying now. Okay.
Yeah. Basically the idea is like the hidden state is absolutely
Absolute.
positioned,
Yeah.
right? And that can either be toggled by data by JavaScript on a button press, or we want people to be able to toggle the styles by focusing on elements. And if they focus on an inner button or link, we want
It'll
the
show up.
parents of
Yeah,
it to show
gotcha.
up.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. And that's how we fix the accessibility. That's pretty much it.
And then obviously because this got changed to button, like it's a
Yeah,
styling, it's a styling thing.
now there's like a bunch of cleanup, and that's why I said, hey, sorry to throw this wrench into your day, because it's like a lot of the styles you had in there are just gonna break because like buttons and anchors like have like different behaviors there.
Yeah.
But I do think it is like the right choice.
No, I thought this was going to be harder than what, like I thought the changes that you were suggesting would have been harder, which is why I suggested like, oh, like does this need to go into an MVC2 completely?
Yeah.
Because it was like,
I don't think so, and I also, I would have pushed back on that, because I think like the things we're talking about are like it really is accessibility problems, and like I don't think it's appropriate for us to like kick accessibility improvements to another, or like for the like I think 80% of them, like I think sometimes there are like some small violations that like most accessibility experts will say like, hey, if you can get to the low hanging fruit, like this stuff can come later. But for this thing, especially because it's so prominent and it's so like
gonna be on every page.
yeah, and it is fundamental to the experience. It's also not just like, oh, this is on like one or two pages and it's extra content. It's the navigation.
Yeah.
like if this isn't accessible, people can't navigate the website, and that's just like, and I think that's like an unacceptable state to be in. So,
Yeah,
but like you said, this isn't huge, and I actually think like honestly, the big win we get here is the focus within.
yeah,
Because without focus within, you have to like start listening for all the tab events and then like toggling classes based on what they tab to and if it is in fact like a focusable element. Yeah, it'll be hard. It's hard to say if that's. There's probably a couple cleanups here, but I think you get the gist of like
yeah.
what the strategy
I can
is.
actually tab to different items.
Yeah, and then you should be able to shift tab to go backwards.
Okay, hold up. Huh, that's weird.
You may need to on the button on this.
On this right.
Yeah.
This right here.
Yeah. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, no, this is what I wanted to say. So on line 10.
Do the same thing.
Yeah, you want to make it focus within. And this itself. Nope, no, this will be fine. Yep. Yeah. One? Yeah, you're good. You're good. Sorry, I started a thought that was wrong.
Oh, okay.
Sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Oh, I did it again. I should have just.
There you go. Control. It took me like a week to adopt it, but once I got it, it's just like changed my life. Changed my life.
So P
relative.
Wait,
yep.
Where is it?
Control space.
Oh wait, that's command space. You said control space. What? Control space. That's weird. Why is it not showing up?
It's probably because it's already all the way in, or maybe it's the modifier. Like the focus, maybe the focus within is like making the autocomplete trip
Weird.
up.
Okay.
I don't know.
Anyway.
But now you should be able to tab into it. Check in the DOM, go into the root div.
Check this, right?
And then, yeah, exactly. And then so
I don't see it.
It's it's there. It's there. Down one line.
Down one line. Where?
Sorry. In the inspector, you have the button class highlighted. In the markup, and then down another line here into div class. Yeah. It's got I can see the. Here's how we can test it. Expand this div.
Expand this div.
And then hop into something. Yep. And then on the on that button, right click and force state focus. Cool. And now click on the container div. So a couple lines up, one more. Yep. And see if this is relative.
In the styles, it's still positioned absolutely.
Okay. Does it see that at all? I wonder if focus within needs to, when a child element has focus.
Yeah, give me. I want to see if I like just typed something in wrong really quickly, because that happens with Tailwind for
Yeah.
me. Like, like let me literally just like copy paste this, because something that was weird about that autocomplete. Yeah, it's I just copy pasted it.
It might be. I'm looking at Tailwind. We might need to enable a plugin for it that says
uh
by default the focus within variant is enabled for the following core plugins.
what about this?
Accessibility is one of them.
So we need an
Yeah.
actual separate plugin for it.
Yeah, I think, and I think, yeah, that makes sense to me. I was like, oh wow, I can't believe Tailwind has this built in. I bet that they have. I bet the accessibility plugin is what adds this to it,
Mhm.
and it's a core plugin, so I think you just have it. I think we just have access to it. Ability.
Yeah, look up the docs.
Where are we? Um,
Yeah, let me close. Let me see.
plugins. Okay, yeah, I think it's just a core one. So if you do in the Tailwind config,
Okay.
scroll plugins at the bottom there, line 195, and then do so. It's a require statement. So take the quotes out.
Oh, gotcha.
Yep, require, and then it's just
Is it just
at Tailwind CSS / accessibility.
Tailwind CSS / accessibility?
Yep, and it needs to be in quotes.
Gotcha.
That's a string.
At Tailwind CSS. Tailwind CSS accessibility.
Mm-hmm.
Accessibility. Am I spelling correctly? I think I am.
Looks right.
Okay.
Cool.
Tailwind
You gotta install it probably.
npm install. What's it? The guy, right? We got a yarn
Yeah. So
database.
I'm just looking up. Oh, I wonder if this within. Oh, sorry. You don't. I don't use enough of these plugins to actually know. Tailwind CSS accessibility plugin. We might just need to extend it in the.
In the variants?
Yeah, if you go to back to the config,
Yeah.
and then yep, variants extend.
Okay.
I'm gonna put this in our Zoom chat.
Gotcha.
So within that, you want to do scale : focus within.
Gotcha.
Yeah, perfect.
Right.
Okay, and then yep. So let's try.
Should I refresh?
Yeah, you might need to kill the server and restart it.
Okay.
Because I think sometimes with the storybook or with the
Oh, the
Tailwind
configuration.
config, like so I never know. Like I need to actually like pay attention. Sometimes it'll restart, or maybe every time it does, and I don't. And I think it's sometimes. But with stuff
I
like this, I'm
know, I know
always
what you mean. There's times
yeah
where I modify this file and it's just like
doesn't come through.
yeah,
Yeah.
just like it doesn't feel reliable.
Mm-hmm,
Like if
mm-hmm.
that makes sense.
No, I agree. Cool.
All right, let's go to
Navigation.
Let's go to the actual iframe once again.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So now, yeah. Well, yeah. Keep it hidden and try and focus in on a thing. Open it up in the elements panel.
This.
Yeah, body, root. There you go. And then, so, down in that div. Yep, that one. And now on, just grab a random element that can take focus state, like any button. Yeah, and then force state to focus.
Force state to focus.
Okay, and then go up to, and then check that div and see if it's the container div, see if it's relative now. See if the style's been crossed out. Like, yeah, scroll down and see if it's like, see if it even knows that it has that attribute on it. I don't think it
I
does.
don't think it does either.
Yeah,
It might be a different one of this because I just
maybe
feel like
that could very well be it. We could have just typoed something somewhere or like put it in the wrong spot.
yeah, I don't. I know.
Go to navigation mobile again.
Yeah, navigation mobile.
Okay, and then scroll to the right.
Right. Yeah, I do want to add in a like a prettier rule to like cut truncate. Like, what is it? Break things to a new line once it reaches like
Yeah.
a certain
Mm-hmm,
length.
mm-hmm. I agree. Oh, you know what? I bet.
Focus.
No, that's not it.
Is it like? Because I think like intuitively, just like from looking at this, I would think that it's like position focus within. You know what I'm saying?
I don't. Show me.
So
Type
like
it.
you see how like this is typed out
Uh-huh.
like this. So in the config right here, I would think that it would be something like
Oh,
position.
sure. Right.
That's like what intuitively like based on like how all of these have been added in because I added these in.
Oh, no, you're super right. I understand now. Yeah, focus within. Apply to a utility. Yep, you can apply it to.
Yeah, let me just restart the thing because I tried it again and it didn't work and I was like, well,
Yeah, you're right. Okay, I see how that works.
yeah. Yeah, I think about the problems we've had with our repo and I'm just like 3 months ago, I was like, I would have anticipated us to even reach this point. So
Yeah.
like we've come quite a long way.
Yeah, it's much better DX. Okay, so now
Let's get into like you said one of the divs, right? One of the buttons.
yeah. Did you change it to Oh, I see. Okay, so that should work now. Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think this should just work, but
Cool. So toggle the thing off. So hit
oh,
the yeah. We want to see it go from off, and then,
then
yeah, focus.
and then try to focus it.
Well, it's already toggled to focus, so that's
Oh,
what the
it's true.
toggling does. And now we want to check the div to see if it went to relative. So the container div.
This one, right?
No, one above, two
This.
above. Sorry, this one. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
it got relative. So now here's the other thing we need to change to is because it's got the transforms on. So turn off the transform in the inspector just to make sure I'm right before we write the code.
Talking
Yeah.
this, right?
See? Yeah. Cool. So same deal with the focus within. So we need to extend. You want to probably what we can just do is extend transform to take focus within. So yeah, copy this into, so next line would be transform. Yep. Can we just unset transform? Transform. Trying to see if I can.
Yeah, you're looking at the docs, right?
Yeah. Yep, we can. Okay, so now in navigation mobile, so save that. We'll probably need to restart again. But here, it's also focus within : transform - none. So this will make that translate stuff won't work anymore.
Okay, so focus within translate.
Transform. I always do this. Control space.
Yes.
Hey, and then SLP transform none.
Feed transform. Oh, my thing went. I did it again.
Boom.
Look at me.
There you go. Cool.
Right.
So now I think we're getting there.
Now if we go to the iframe, I know I get into the habit of just like closing and reopening all the things. I should just really just keep the iframe open and refresh.
Yeah, you can do that. That'll do it too. So you can even test this without doing what we were doing before. I bet you can just tab into it. So click on the thing. Hey, look at that. Isn't that dope? And then do shift tab a couple times.
Shift tab. Oh, that's sick.
Sick and accessible. Isn't that dope?
Yeah, that's super sweet.
There you go.
I learned something today, which is awesome.
So good. This is perfect. This is excellent. Thank you for sitting through this. Awesome. So yeah, just now we gotta do that on the desktop stuff, like etc. But
just style cleanup.
yeah, style cleanup, make it look like it was looking before. But you got it. I mean, that's that. I like that solves 80% of my concerns. One other thing came up for me:
For
the
sure.
button, the toggle button. Do you have an ARIA label on that?
I do not.
We should slap an ARIA label on it that just says like mobile cleanup. Yeah, like on the button itself.
On this one right here, right?
Yeah, and just
Are you
call it like
talking Aria
dash label.
Aria label
Yep, and just call it like navigation toggle or like toggle navigation.
or toggle navigation?
Yeah, because I think what it does usually is like the screen reader, you can just write it as a sentence because the screen reader announces the ARIA label. So if a person's going through it, it'll say like, they'll get to this element and it'll say like, it'll literally read that text string. And so I think you could even say, this is a button to toggle the navigation. And like that will be extremely clear. But I think this is perfectly acceptable too. I'm not
Okay.
100% on that, but
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, I think this is us. This we should use this as an opportunity to call out that like when we, previously when it was just like Brandon and Lauren like doing this entire repo, like doing this level of detail to
Uh-huh.
accessibility is like so much harder when you have so many requests to go through.
All the
And it,
requests and all the deadlines. There's only two of you doing the thing, and it's like, and you got to catch it too, right? Because like you'll even if you know to do it, even if you've got the time, like you'll forget or you'll miss it, and like that's it's unacceptable to have an inaccessible website, but like also it is, I think, perhaps understandable to end up in that state, like when you don't have the tools at your disposal to like get it there.
yeah, and I think that this is like going through this has been awesome because it's educated me a lot about accessibility. It's
Yeah,
not something that like I think like a lot of people say that it's like really important, but like in practice, I think there's like a lot of knowledge gaps that people have, like
yeah,
at least for me myself personally. Like,
yeah,
and I think that like stuff like this has been really helpful. So I
yeah.
think we should continue to do stuff like this and
Cool.
focus on that. So
Yeah, thanks for taking the time. So yeah, I
thanks
think
for
it's just
helping
style
me.
cleanup. I really think that this is fixed up then. I think there's a couple like other suggestions or nitpicks, but like this was the blocking stuff for me. Like it just needs to be tabbable, and like that's basically it. Like if this is tabbable in both directions, right? Like forward and backwards, and it goes in the order you expect it to go in, then
Yeah.
like that basically means, and that's the nice thing about this, and like that's why like so much of accessibility is like just understanding the semantics appropriately, because if it's tabbable, it means your semantics are correct and the semantics are accessible by default,
That makes sense. Yeah,
right?
I think that's a good way of like I don't know if you've like felt this, but like I think like at a certain point, like accessibility comes down to like a basic understanding of like semantic HTML and
Mm-hmm.
like semantic CSS. And I think
Yep.
that like a lot of people, I'm not convinced that a lot of the ways that people traditionally learn HTML and CSS really reinforces that.
Precisely, I agree. Yeah,
And so like
it's a complex thing, but it's getting easier to do,
yeah,
which is good.
I
Yeah.
mean, like I said, like you were saying about like what you have to do before, like to get
Mm-hmm.
like this sort of stuff. Like I
Yeah,
didn't even
I
know
had to
focus
like,
within. Yeah,
yeah, the focus within makes it just 1,000 times better. It's just like it's awesome.
yeah, that's a
um
developer experience thing, right? Like if
mhm.
it's easy to do, then like more people are likely to care about accessibility because it
Yeah,
doesn't feel like a huge task.
yeah, yeah. Well, cool.
Sweet.
I gotta jump, but this is great. Let me know if you run into any blockers through the day, but I think this is good. We've got this recorded. Do you have access to Unfiltered? I think you might need to send it to me.
Yeah, I think I
Okay,
will.
cool. Yeah, send me the recording and I'll post it up.
For sure.
But yeah, cool.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good one.
Yeah, bye.